All the way down in East Hampton?
You're on.
Okay. Welcome, everyone. I'd like to call the meeting of the Select Board for the Town of Bernardston on Wednesday, April 2nd at 6:01 p.m. This meeting is being broadcast live on BNC TV and live streamed on YouTube. To find BNC TV on YouTube, go to the youtube.com and select and search for Bernardston-Northfield Community Television. This meeting will be available for later viewing by following the link at townofbernardston.org. You can also watch channel 1075 on your Comcast dial in Bernardston. I guess we're going to do the warrants first. I would entertain a motion for the payroll warrant in the amount of $48,643.13.
So moved. Second?
Any discussion, corrections, deletions, additions?
No.
Hearing none, call the vote. All those in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Aye. I would entertain a motion for the vendor warrant in the amount of $67,563.43.
So moved. Second?
Any corrections, deletions, additions, anything? If not, I'd call the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Meeting minutes. I would entertain a motion for the regular meeting minutes of March 19th, 2025.
So moved. Second?
Any corrections, additions, deletions? No. All those in favor?
Aye.
I would entertain a motion for the special meeting minutes of March 26th, 2025.
So moved. Second?
Any discussion, corrections, deletions? No. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, we're going to jump out of order. We are very lucky tonight to have Natalie Blais join us. She is our state representative, and she's worked on behalf of the residents of the town of Western Massachusetts in various public positions for over a decade. She was sworn into office as the first female state representative for the 1st Franklin District in January of 2019. Natalie proudly represents one of the most rural districts in the Commonwealth that includes 18 communities spanning 3 counties and over 450 square miles. Have you been in all of those?
I have.
See, there it goes.
Times.
Representative Blais is the vice chair. This is what you want to listen to because this is what she can help you
Now
with.
chair.
Chair.
Chair now.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Of the Joint Committee on Agriculture. She is also a member of the Joint Committees on Tourism, Arts and Cultural Development, Transportation, we'll get back to that, and Ways and Means. Prior to becoming state representative, Natalie served as a congressional aide to U.S. Representatives John Oliver and Jim McGovern for a decade. She's not that old. She went on to become University of Massachusetts Amherst Chancellor Kumble Subswamy's first chief of staff. Did I mess up his name?
No, you got it.
Got it, okay. He used to come to the hockey games.
He's the best.
He was super. Natalie also served as the executive director of the Franklin County Chamber of Commerce. Natalie earned a BA in political science from Dickinson College in Carlisle, Pennsylvania, and an MA in organization and political communication from Emerson College in Boston, right near Fenway Park. After being awarded the Cecil and Helen Rose Ethics in Communication Scholarship. So welcome, Natalie.
Thank you.
So
It's good to be here.
Back on March 4th, I sent your office
Yes.
a list.
Yes.
And since then, time has moved on and we've removed
Yes.
some of the items, but
Well,
added
I'm sorry
some.
that I had to cancel. I had to be in
No,
Boston that
we-
day. I felt horrible.
Totally understand.
You absolutely do, and you're here on our request, which was awful nice that you come.
Yes.
So the bunch of different topics, and you can take them in any order you want. The 2 bridges in Bernardston, which we want to talk about. I'll give you a little detail there.
Yep.
Some grant help, if there's any help to be had from the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. Marijuana, the CCC Commission. We have an issue with the 6-town school district, and I've added 2 extra ones that probably are easy. I need your help with the DOT for flashing light in the fire department for our new fire department. And also just an off-the-wall thing. I drive up and down Route 91 all the time, and in Deerfield, on 91, northbound and southbound, because you're on the transportation.
I hate to break this to you, but when I became chair of ag this session, I got rid of all of the other committees.
Oh, get out! But you still have friends in high places.
I'm like, I don't want to get your hopes up, but I'll do what I can.
Okay. 91 northbound and southbound in Deerfield
Yes.
is an abomination. It's an embarrassment. And you also served on the tourism thing.
I did.
If anybody's coming up from New York, Connecticut, New Jersey, all those people that go right by us and go skiing and the like, you can't drive on the road anymore. It is horrendous. We should get our money back from whoever tarred that.
I spend a little bit of time on that road myself.
Really? Good. Yeah, I bet you have. More than you want. So, those are the topics we threw out there. If there's anything you want us to clarify as far as the topics, go ahead, but have at it.
So first, thanks for having me. I do this every year with select boards in the 17 communities of the First Franklin, and I share Greenfield with Rep. Whips, so we meet with the City Council annually as well, with Senator Comerford, who I know you know well. It's really just an opportunity to touch base, to see what's on your mind, from pavement to grants to the CCC to schools to flashing lights, all of the above. But I also use it as an opportunity just to let you know what I'm working on. So what you have in front of you are the 40 bills that I have offered this session in support of the First Franklin District. They range from support for agriculture and farms to democracy and transparency, health and public safety, education, energy, environment, transportation, including a bill on unpaved roads, which I am really hoping to get across the finish line one day, veterans, municipal support. So I always bring this to select boards just so that you know what I'm working on in Boston, so that if there are bills that you're interested in and want to support, if you want to provide testimony, if there are bills that you're opposed to, just let me know. But I just want to make sure that the bills that I'm offering on Beacon Hill are what you're interested in.
Can we get a copy of this so that she can put it on?
I have it right here.
Oh, but
Yep,
on the website, electronically?
And it is on my website too, which is
Okay, please send a link
replay.org.
over to yours. That's great.
Yep,
So the town people that are watching on TV can
It's
click in on that. Thank you.
replay.org. You can go there and find all of the bills that I've introduced. The bridges in Bernardston, I'm assuming you're working with MassDOT
Yep.
on those.
A couple of years ago, they came to us and
Yeah.
did a nice dog and pony show, whatever you want, explaining what they were going to do, and then they kind of sort of went away. About a month ago, we saw some activity on 91 residents going over.
Okay.
And we just haven't seen an update, heard an update, what's going on. It's going to be a huge impact for the town because they're going to close it down to one lane across to the other side of town, and we've relocated our fire department over to that side of town.
I'm very
So
excited
folks
to
on
see
this
it.
side of the town are a little nervous about how the ambulance, how the fire department's going to get here, the police department, that kind of thing.
Okay. Well, happy to touch base with them and get you an update on where
That would
they
be
are
great.
on that. Absolutely. The second thing was grant applications. Happy to support the town in whatever grants you're applying for. I was just talking to Lucy back here about writing grant support letters. You know how to find us if you are applying for state grants. We're happy to write those letters as a support. Usually we do them together with Senator Comerford and get those off to whatever state agency you're applying to.
What we're hearing is that in particular the state support of the senior centers and the like in your district are looking at a horrible year coming up. Everything is cutting to zero or as close to zero as they can get it. And the competition for the monies it went from really supportive to, oh my God.
Well, we'll know soon. So the governor has put out her budget, H1. It's the first year of our 2-year session, so she's put out H1. The House is the House and the Senate have joint Ways and Means Committee hearings. There are 8 of them that are held across the state. Each one of them focuses on about 3 to 5 different topic areas. So we've finished up those specific ones, and next week, there is a general one in the State House for anybody to participate in. The other ones are by invitation only. It's the secretariats that come in and present to the Joint Committee on Ways and Means about the proposal that the governor has put forward. So next week will be that last Ways and Means hearing. If you want to submit comments, you can do that in writing, virtually, or in person. And on the 16th, that's the following Wednesday, the 16th, the House Ways and Means Committee will release the House budget. And at that point in time, we'll know what those funding levels are. And then we have a little over a week to offer amendments. And then that last week of April is when the House takes up our budget. So we'll know more about what those numbers look like in the next 2 weeks. And I'm sure that people will submit amendments related to senior funding. And we'll see what that looks like. Right now, I just don't know because we haven't seen a budget yet. We've only seen the governor's proposal. And sometimes we take a lot of the things out of the governor's budget and sometimes we don't. It's usually a good mix of ideas. And then after the House takes up our budget, the Senate will take up their budget. So there's multiple bites at the apple in terms of funding and changing that budget.
And that's separate from any federal funding that comes and funneled through the state?
Well, some funding does come through as pass-through to the state. If we're looking at healthcare, for example, education funding, so we'll have to see.
Where that falls to?
Yes.
Because that's what we're hearing, the biggest piece for the senior centers is gone to zero.
Pass-throughs, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is a concern for a small community like ours.
Yeah, and things are changing every day at the
Right.
federal level. So
Yes.
we're trying as best we can to be nimble in terms of when we hear something definitive that's happening at the federal level in terms of funding. For example, we just heard about these funding cuts that were happening in terms of local lunch programs for schools that are going to impact farmers.
Yep.
So the state will never be able to fill all of the funding gaps that are being proposed by the federal government. Our rainy day fund can't even begin to touch it, and it's not what it's intended to do. The rainy day fund is not intended to fill gaps from the federal government based on federal decisions. It's really meant to be there in times of recession. So we'll have to, as soon as we know exactly what is happening in Washington, we will make the very best decisions that we can based on the funding that we have available. It was already going to be a tough budget year. In the last 6 years since I've been in office, we've really seen growth in our economy. But in the last couple of years, it's sort of fallen off. It's not going down, it's stagnant. And so that, with inflation, it makes it more difficult. It makes those decisions that much more difficult. So not only are we dealing with a stagnant budget, we're also trying to grapple with what we're seeing in terms of what's coming out of Washington.
Needs have gone up, the revenues level.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Tyler, are we okay with the mics? Good?
Good. The Cannabis Control Commission. I was just talking to the chair of the Cannabis Commission last week. I know there is some restructuring going on there that the legislature is considering. So I can't comment on what's happening there because it's still ongoing. But I know that there are concerns that we're hearing from communities.
In particular, the reach back
Yeah,
to
For the
propose
host agreements.
for those two
proposed
agreements.
reach back.
Yeah, yeah,
That's scary to the town of Bernardston. We've
Sure.
had Heirloom Cooperative here for a number of years, and if we had to find those funds to get back to the CCC, it would be an issue.
yeah, yeah, yeah. We'll see what happens. I just know that that work is ongoing. Yeah.
And that's a big separation on the CCC. They have their own powers that you guys can't really control too much, correct? Which is a big, tough to swallow for some of us that have
Sure.
stuck our necks out to get some of these businesses up and running.
Yeah,
And now we could get it slapped across our face if they decide to pull those back. And
yeah.
you
It's
guys can only
definitely
do
been-
so much for us.
Yeah, it's definitely been lifted up as an issue.
Yeah.
Yeah. Six-town
Can I-
school? Oh,
Can I join in?
Please.
I don't
Only
have
if you
a
come up
problem-
to
I
that.
don't have a, come on up, Jane.
Jane's the chair of the finance committee in town.
Yes.
Jane does it.
see you.
We've met, haven't we? I don't have a problem if they want to try to change the rules, of course they do change the rules. However, they should be effective now. They
Yeah,
should not be
going forward.
looking back.
Yeah,
Yeah, for us, we only have one host agreement. So we're severely impacted for a little town. I mean, look at the city of Northampton.
yeah,
I mean, they have 15 or 18 host agreements. If they have to start giving it back, I mean, for Bernardston, it's going to be close to $800,000.
yeah.
Big money for a little town like ours.
It's big money. Schools, so this, I just wanted to give you, this is a section by section summary of the rural schools bill.
Thank you.
And I know one of the questions, is around regionalization. This was one of the sections that was included in the Rural Schools Commission report that we did. If you go into, towards the end. Yeah, sort of sections
15?
11 on are really intended to put some programs in place for communities that are considering regionalizing. I know you're already well down that road. But what we've heard from communities that have wanted to regionalize is, what happens to the school buildings? What are we going to do with those going forward? So thinking about how we are going to work around that. Providing some extra payments for students in order to help with the cost burden. There are several provisions here that are intended to give some financial certainty to communities that are looking to regionalize or super regionalize. We have a new chair of the education committee, so I hope to have him come out to visit some of our schools out here, as I did with the former House chair, and certainly talking with him about this regionalization project, as well as Mohawk is also looking at doing some regionalization of their schools, so that taking him around and showing him all of the schools that we have would be important, so that he understands sort of the scale and what we're seeing in terms of declining population in our districts, which is really killing us. But just today I was on the phone with the commissioner of the Department of Insurance talking to him about healthcare costs. We've seen healthcare costs rise, 18% right now.
That's correct.
And so I not only was on the phone with him, I've been on the phone with a lot of people about this to try to find out what's driving that cost. And it turns out that it is the weight loss drugs.
Ozempic.
The GLP-1s are really driving those increases. So I was able to be on the phone today with the commissioner just to talk that through. They're certainly aware of it because they're also seeing it in the state, health insurance programs. So it's something that they're aware of and they're looking to put guidance out on. So we'll see what happens with that. But that is the primary driver with those increases right now.
I mean, with the schools, are you hopeful that the formula is going to change in our lifetime?
I think that there is some momentum right now to do it. The Foundation Budget Review Commission has not met since 2005. That is what led to the Student Opportunity Act and the passage of the Student Opportunity Act. It is supposed to meet every 10 years. So I'm hopeful that we can open up the formula. There is a bill on the Senate side to do just that, because I think what we're seeing is that we've been feeling this in rural schools for a very long time. We've been able to get rural school aid up from the $1 million that we had when I first came in 6 years ago to now $16 million. We're going to keep trying to push for hopefully some fair share money to keep it going further up. But there's a lot of momentum, not only around rural school aid, but really cracking open the formula, because it seems to not be working for
Just to give
a
you
lot of people right now.
For Bernardston this year,
Yeah.
our municipal growth factor for the town of Bernardston was 15th in the Commonwealth.
Tiny town.
15th
Yeah.
out of 15th was the school's document.
Yeah.
Out of 351 communities,
Yeah.
which is driving an 11% increase to the town of Bernardston to the Pioneer Valley Regional School District, which to us, the people that don't know, is a little over $300,000 increase to this town. That's very hard to do anything else in this community
Yeah.
this current budget year because of the way the formula is.
Yeah.
It's hard to imagine that Bernardston can be 15th in municipal growth factor in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts.
Yeah.
We have 2,100 people. How can we?
Well, that's
I
just
mean, we
it.
verified the numbers. It is the right number.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
it's like, huh?
Well,
Where's
and
the
that's, and just on the House side at least, with a new chair coming in, talking to him about the fact that our communities rely pretty much solely on a residential tax base, and no one's coming in to save us. And so it really forces people to make really difficult decisions. It forces people like you, finance committee, school committee, to make some really tough decisions when it comes to funding a fire station versus, other priorities in your communities.
Right.
So,
We do appreciate the push, though, for
Yeah.
you guys on the road.
We're gonna keep pushing.
You guys have been awesome, you and Joe.
we're gonna
really.
keep pushing. But, and Joe she's now the vice chair on Ways and Means. They just had the education committee hearing at UMass. I know that this was something that was talked about. I was there, I had to leave right before the questioning came around, but we had people from the region who were there to support rural schools, and I know that there was a lot of clapping as the senators and reps talked about the need to support rural school districts. I know that the secretary has heard that. He has heard our call to open up the Chapter 70 formula. It is dependent upon the legislature to act on that. So we'll keep having conversations about that.
Great, thank you.
Yeah. We need a flashing light.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we moved our fire station
Yes.
from next door here
I
down
know, I need to get over
down
it.
to Route
I
10.
texted Peter. I'm like, Peter, when do I get the grand tour?
That's coming.
I'll take care of
We're
it.
having an open house.
Yeah, we're going to have an open house in the summertime.
Okay.
And celebrate the move and all the hard work that the fire department has
Yeah,
done to
it's
make
incredible.
it happen.
It is
We've had some
incredible.
great volunteers working
Yeah.
on that. But as the fire equipment comes out onto Route 10,
Yeah.
coming over the hill from Northfield into Bernardston,
Yeah.
that road is 55 miles an hour. And even with lights and bells and sirens flaring, you're still taking your life in your hands. And we don't want anyone to get hurt
Yeah.
aiming to help somebody else. And we submitted a permit to the DOT, and we were turned down.
Oh, did they give a reason?
I'll forward you the email.
That would be helpful.
Yeah, we can do that.
Okay.
It is incredibly disappointing, and it's just not safe.
Right.
It makes no sense. It's about a $2,000 investment to
Yeah.
get the flashes going, and they've got some incredible technology as they start the engine on the fire, the lights turn to stop, and everything's.
Yeah.
Be careful, it's coming. Nope. They won't do it. So we need to find the 2,000 or whatever it is,
Okay.
we have to get their blessing to do it.
Okay.
It's just, I don't get why they turned us down. They
Okay.
spent $2,000 on one truckload of salt in the wintertime.
Right. Right.
They could also reduce the speed limit,
Absolutely, that would help too.
because the talk is, and I don't know if it's the talk at the hearing 2 years ago for the bridges,
For the bridges.
was that when the bridges were done, they were going to increase the speed limit as soon as you come off 91.
Make it a racetrack.
going in.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wrong direction.
Yeah. Yes.
And this is Center City, this is our town.
Yeah.
Just as you go over that bridge, you're coming into the,
So was cost the issue, or that there wasn't enough traffic?
we're going to send you the email.
Okay,
You
send
can-
me the
you
email so I can take a
call
look
the
at
right
it.
people and
Yeah.
beat
They've
on
got
it.
the
They're doing a study
counters
right
out
now.
though now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. 'Cause a
I
lot
wish
of
they
them-
brought
they
us
have
tonight,
to.
but I
Sometimes they have to meet certain thresholds to.
Well, I remember looking back, this was for another reason several years ago, but I looked back at a recent traffic study that was done by the DOT on Route 10, and there was 10,000 trips a day on Route 10. And
That's a
that
lot of
was-
traffic.
And that was,
When was that?
I dare say, 10 to 15 years ago, the last time it was done.
Yeah, Jesse Dean has a lot of good info from
You know
We
Jesse.
just got
I was
enough
say, how lucky are you to have
Right.
Jesse Dean
Yeah,
living in
absolutely.
Bernardston?
And you're right, Jane, I'm sure it's been updated
Traffic.
since then, but that's the one I remember seeing however long ago.
Okay.
it was.
Yeah.
So,
The numbers were like that.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's a lot.
You
Okay.
saw those numbers, Jane.
I did, because when I read them, I said, that's ridiculous, there aren't that many cars going through it.
Right.
The count was for this intersection down here.
Yeah.
So I came down and parked and counted the cars, and I gave up.
Yeah.
I gave up
Lucy
in
could
short
vouch for
order
that.
I like
because
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were all going.
Lucy likes it,
now maybe we're wrong.
but just not 65 miles an hour. You want them to slow down to pull in. I get you.
If they don't see Lucy's sign, they can't stop.
If they don't stop, they're going into the pizza truck.
Right.
Well, I can touch base with MassDOT on the bridges
That
and
would be
and the
terrific.
lights.
We would appreciate that.
Happy to make a call over there.
And the speed limit.
Yeah, the speed limit, it's a
Reduce the
light
speed
speed
limit
limit.
there,
Yeah.
especially starting like right where everybody comes off of 91, and they're flying off of 91, and it's really,
It's both directions, yeah.
and it's hard to see. I had the police chief tell me, he clocked a guy, he was sitting at the state highway garage, clocked the guy coming off of I-91, 71 miles an hour. He said he didn't stop him until he got down to Dead River. He
Okay.
finally realized, oh.
A couple of miles
there's a
down the
car
road,
behind me.
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So,
Yeah.
And to
No, I've
think
got that all
that
on the
years ago,
list.
that used to be 2 lanes right there.
Yeah.
One lane was for when you were coming off the highway, the other lane was your
Yep.
travel lane. Eventually they merged, but
Yeah.
All that's gonna get fixed.
now
too.
it's merged right
it's
away.
gonna
Going
get fixed
intersections.
anyways when
Yeah.
we redo
Yeah.
everything, but.
We just don't want people to get hurt.
Yeah. No, I hear
We
you on
get this
that.
brand new fire station,
Yeah.
and it's not asking a lot.
No, I hear you on that. So happy to reach out to them on those.
Okay, thank you.
You had asked on your original list about hybrid, so I did include a sheet
the
here.
meetings,
The
yeah.
governor has signed this into law
Yeah.
through January 30th of 2027. So look, you asked,
Yep.
look at that.
and we made it happen.
That's right.
I know it was right up to the wire, but we made it happen.
What
No,
do we
this,
have to do to have that become permanent?
Yeah, that's a good question.
well, we'll see
Is
on
it-
June 29th, 2027.
Well, before that, does it have to be a constitutional amendment, a bylaw amendment?
I don't know if it has to be a constitutional amendment, since we've done it legislatively.
Just to clarify for the people on the TV here, this is to allow town departments, meetings, committees to go on Zoom and in absentia, so they don't have to be sitting in this room with us. We can have a meeting and have it legal and do everything. And because of COVID, they opened that up to us. And then they were that COVID authorization expired on a couple of months,
Yeah, it was-
March
it was
30th,
March-
31st, whatever.
March 31st.
Yeah, a couple of days ago. And they were
She
able
signed it on
to-
March 28th.
Right. They were able to up it for another couple of years.
Yeah.
But it is really helpful
Yeah.
when we have committees to
Yeah.
allow.
It's
for
really
that.
increased participation, allow
Yeah.
people to participate in ways that it's really important, especially in our small communities, where we now have the internet.
It's hard enough to get committee members
Yeah.
if they're out.
Most of us.
Oh, right?
Yeah.
Great.
Remember what it was like right at the beginning of COVID, and we
Yeah.
were just starting to use Zoom meetings and
Yeah.
everything?
Right.
It was
Now
it was
it's
a
old hat.
whole-
You
Now
know
it's
how to
old
do it.
hat.
Yeah.
It's a fascinating thing to take a look at.
Yeah.
And Chapter 90 money, we can keep pushing for
I was
that.
gonna just talk about chapter
Yeah.
Because I was
9.
talking
good.
to a highway boss today, and his
Yeah.
preliminary numbers are we're getting a $70,000 reduction next year.
Yeah.
I know it's not finalized yet.
Yeah, so what the governor has proposed is a 5-year bond, which is good. We've been talking about having a multi-year bond for a while now, because it is so hard to plan when you just have a 1-year, $200 million bond. So what she's proposed now is a 5-year bond with $200 million that would be distributed in a way that we've always seen, with an additional $100 million on top of that is distributed by a new formula that would be based on mileage. And that is based on a report that the governor commissioned around how we can better support rural communities. And we know from the past couple of years, when we've been able to secure these rural road dollars that are based on mileage, that more money flows to rural communities. So that's certainly something that we're fighting for, is the 200 million plus the 100 million based on roadway miles. Because if we're not going to change the Chapter 90 formula, this is a way for us to put some funding on top of that to direct more funds towards rural communities. She's proposed 25 million in winter roads assistance programs, which we've sometimes had in the past. This is reminding me to get, I have a committee meeting tomorrow. I have to remember to get silverware and paper plates at Big Y on the way home. So she's proposing the 25 millions for that winter roads assistance program. There's additional funding in this longer bond bill that she's proposed to do more around culverts and bridges, which we really need. And we're fighting for additional rail service, as you've heard, along the Route 2 corridor, which I think would also be helpful to the region. Plus more funding for our regional transit authorities to provide additional service to rural communities, including microtransit, since we don't have Uber or Lyft, which people also find unbelievable. It was the same as when I told them we didn't have the internet. Like when I tell them that we don't have Uber and Lyft, it blows their minds. But you know, when we see that how much money is being proposed to go to the MBTA, we're trying to propose a package as the Western Massachusetts delegation that says, if you're going to put this much money towards the MBTA, we need you to be putting this much money towards these things. And that includes Chapter 90, rail along the northern tier, west-east Berkshire Flyer, the Winter Roads Assistance Program, Complete Streets, Municipal Pavement Program, and several other programs that would at least help to bring more funds to our rural communities in terms of fixing their roads and bridges, culverts.
Great.
Yeah.
That's good news.
Yeah.
That's a good start.
We'll see how far we get.
Yeah.
There is a Chapter 90 hearing next week, so if you wanted to submit testimony in support
Yeah.
of the governor's proposal, that would be helpful. And then there's also a hearing on fair share. The fair share funding hearing is tomorrow, and then next week is the Chapter 90.
Yeah, Ann pushed out an email with all that information
Yeah.
today.
Dan
Good.
Goby?
Yeah, Ann Goby.
So I was also on the phone with today,
Yeah.
talking about housing. And we're lucky to have her
Yes.
in that position. She's doing a great job.
That's a voice we didn't have.
It is true. And I will say, Kristen Ellico from the governor's office, the Western Mass governor's office out of Springfield,
Yes.
has also been phenomenal. So to have, you know, here in Western Massachusetts, we have as many legislators as the entire city of Boston has. So it makes it especially important for us to work together. So to have Ann's voice and Kristen's voice added to ours has been really, really helpful. And we're grateful to this administration for putting them in those places.
Questions from the audience? I knew it. Can you come up and, please?
You want me to scooch over?
Just so we can record you, that's all.
That's it.
You said that. There you go. Oh, Carrie, you can come too.
Oh, no, it's okay. Supporting you from
There you go.
Did you bring us
Moral
coffee?
support from back there.
If I had known that you two knew each other, I
Makes sense.
would have walked right back out.
There. So we have Lucy. Of Sweet
Lucy
Lucy's.
from Sweet Lucy's, yeah. Parent of Pioneer Valley Regional School District, and I wanted to thank you for coming. First of all, it's like really cool having you here. But I wanted to just bring up to your attention the struggle that our district has been having with our before and after school program. It got dropped this year due to funding. It didn't make it into the funding, and then the town has been like really spending a ton of time looking into alternatives and have come into a roadblock with all of the licensing, and that the state has enforced mandates for non-school like DESE supported programs, and Bernardston is a childcare desert. There's
Right.
like not a single daycare that's open in this town this year, so there's no opportunity for kids to get on the bus at a daycare, get off the bus like when we were kids.
Yeah.
So I just figured I'd bring it to your attention, and
So there's nothing in place right now. It was
right, and it was
cut this last year.
yeah. So yeah, we had it last year through a funded like COVID funding
ESSER funds.
contracted program, and I think the school has looked into putting it into their budget, and it's just too expensive for obviously everything is getting cut right now, so I know it's like very inappropriate timing to be asking for anything,
really
but
hard. The choice. We were just
Right.
talking about the
Yeah.
state budget. We're talking about making difficult decisions of the state budget, and you all are having
Yeah.
to make really difficult decisions at the local level.
We have
Yeah.
a lot of mom and dads that are dual income
yeah.
households, and that means that dad leaves early in the morning and mom comes home early at night, and it just doesn't work. The hours aren't there, and
Yeah.
so somebody has to sacrifice. And it would be very simple if the schools came through with that. They've got set up, ready, set, go, and then they abandoned that program. And they did it at the 2 minutes before the 12th hour. It just
Yeah, it's
floored
been
us
talked about
that
quite a bit.
Yeah, very disappointing in that process. And there hasn't been a lot of enthusiasm from the regional school district to restart the program. We've asked every which way to get creative.
Yeah.
Lucy and a number of other parents,
Kara.
yeah, have all.
You wanna
She's
help?
gonna work in there.
I mean,
You know, she used to teach my kids.
Is that right?
I think, you know, and I mean, there's the school route, but then additionally there was the possibility. I think there's some towns that use that use the rec department to run it, but because we don't have a building that's has been identified to be appropriate to house students other than the school, there's an overlap from when the school rents the building to when the rec department can get access to it. It's about 15 minutes, but it's still governed by DESE. So those 15 minutes that DESE governs or that Pioneer rents the building requires massive licensing. So there's like, I think that's been a big issue.
The licensing's the huge piece.
It's the licensing from the state.
From
That's
DESE.
not, yeah, so there's, and again, it's and there's more details if you talk to the school, but there's a certain amount of, it's not a lot of time that these kids get out, but they need care. And
Yeah.
the rec department can't manage the program because they'd have to get massive licensing for that 15
For
minutes.
15
For
minutes.
15
That
minutes.
seems a little
Um,
excessive.
But
It's
like
like a
the,
daycare license. You
yeah,
have
exactly.
to-
It's a daycare license,
Yeah.
but the rec department, according to FERCog, there's things that they can do. They can do like after-school clubs or homework club. That I think we could for 2 hours. That would just be helpful, better
Right.
than nothing.
Right.
So, anyway, just figured.
Yeah. Happy to reach out. We'll see what we can find out.
Yeah, it's the Department of Early Education and Care. That's
Yeah.
where the license, as you must know, right?
Yeah. Okay.
So, and thanks to the town for continuing to support
It's a need.
this process.
And that's the huge thing with the home care not being there. Like you said,
Yeah.
when we were all kids, it was everywhere.
Yeah.
Right.
And
Yeah.
the licensing changed for that, and I get it, because it makes the kids
Yeah.
safer at the end of the day, but it was just too onerous for the average mom that just had 2 kids at home already, wanted to bring in 3 more
Right.
to be
Well, there were
able
more.
to get through.
There were more stay-at-home parents.
Right.
That too.
Back then.
Yeah.
I mean, now more and more.
Yeah.
2 parents who are working full-time
Right.
jobs.
And then there's some towns that have access to the Y, but there's no bus that comes to Bernardston. I mean, I don't know, maybe we could get something figured out, but it just seems like the amount of headache to get a kid all the way to Greenfield to get on a bus to come back to
Exactly.
Bernardston
Yeah.
seems like people would rather, but
I
We were
mean,
talking
even
about-
Jaduke that just opened has a waiting
Right.
list.
Right,
already.
right.
Yeah,
The
they
need
opened
for
up a ton of
childcare.
slots when that
Yeah.
opened too.
yeah. But how do you get them from that place
Exactly.
to our school?
Yeah.
So, and I think there's conversation about the possibility when if the regionalization happens, that the school's talking about maybe doing a daycare on campus, but that's, who knows if it's gonna ever happen, that's years and years and years away, and.
Kids will be in college by then.
Exactly, yeah, I'll keep fighting. It's not about my kids. I just need my coffee in the morning without kids.
Their kids, when their kids come.
There will always
Then
be
maybe
kids
it'll
that
be
need
Yeah.
I'm happy to dig into this a little bit more.
Sweet.
See what if anything. I don't
Thanks
know
for
if
listening.
it's,
That's all
sounds
I
like
need.
it's a state reg, but we can definitely look into
Yeah,
it to see what's going on.
Cool.
Yeah.
Any other citizens?
Thank you,
Nope.
Lucy.
All
Yeah,
right.
thank you.
Thank you, Lucy.
Well, Natalie, we really appreciate you coming.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's
you very
good to
much.
see you all. Thank you
Yes,
for having me. I know
and
you're
don't be a
so
stranger.
busy.
Yeah, we
You've
saw
got
you
my
at
number.
the opening of the
Incandescent.
new brewery.
I know. Their official opening is this Friday, right?
Correct, 4 o'clock.
So I have to post it. I have to be in Maine at a rural conference. But I have the picture, so I'm going to post
How
a
far up?
reminder in Portland.
Oh, that's
Real
a drive.
rural, huh?
That's a drive.
But yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing them succeed.
Yeah.
Great people. I'm glad that you have
Yes,
somebody
they are.
in that space.
Yep.
It looks beautiful.
Yeah, they did a great job.
And I'll probably see you again there.
Okay, sounds
We'll
good.
send you the invitation for the open house at the
Yes,
fire station.
Yes,
absolutely.
if
Peter
Make
doesn't
sure
get
we
back
get
to
I was
you.
gonna
Yeah,
say,
yeah,
no,
that's right.
he said next time you're in town, but I was running, when I was coming into Incandescent, I saw you, I was
Yep.
running to something else.
Going to Mohawk.
I was going to Mohawk that night.
Don't forget the
So-
forks and knives.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Plates.
And
Going
plates.
to Big Y on the way
Oh,
home.
thank you. Like, see, I'd already forgotten. I'm like, I have to bring forks and knives to the brewery? What? No, thank you.
All
I
right,
appreciate
appreciate
it.
it.
Thank you.
See you
Thanks.
later.
Safe travels.
Thank you very much.
And you're taking our whole crowd with you. Darn. Very good. Okay. So, In my hour of need, Karen deserted me. Let's go to calendar announcements. Does that make sense?
Sure.
Okay.
Just have to talk loud over them, that's all.
Yeah,
Tyler can't hear us.
that's all right. He'll turn off our mic.
Forget to add our meeting.
Chris, push him farther.
Oh, okay. It's not on our list?
No.
Okay.
I don't think so.
Okay, so next is calendar announcements. Family and Community Events Survey. As you may know, the town of Bernardston is looking to expand family-friendly, community-based events and has launched a survey for interested individuals to share their ideas on what types of programming they'd like to see. The survey is open to all community members in and around Bernardston and is available online at the Town of Bernardston website at www.townofbernardston.org. Go to the town website page, click on the far left radio button titled Family and Community-Based Events and Survey. I've done it, it works. There are 12 questions to answer. In addition, we're still looking for volunteers to start up the new Family and Community Events Committee tasked with creating and organizing community events. If you are interested in volunteering, please contact the town administrator at bos@townofbernardston.org or call her at 413-648-5401. 2025 Spring Youth Sports Program registration. Introduce your child to the fun and excitement of the town's of Bernardston's Spring Youth Sports Programming. Programs are designed for children to learn the basics of a game in a supportive and fun environment. The emphasis is on having fun, building confidence, and fostering teamwork as children begin their journey in sports. Spring sports programming includes preschool t-ball, indoor and outdoor soccer, volleyball, and crossfire. If you're sick and tired of having your kids play on your cell phone or any of the other silly things they do, have them sign up for something and get some exercise, and you'll find that they come home very tired. Register and pay online at the town website or visit Town Hall and pick up a registration form and make payment by check to the town of Bernardston. Next one, deadline for 2025 warrant article submission for the annual town meeting warrant. The deadline for submission of warrant articles for the annual town meeting is April 17th, 2025. That's coming fast. 15 days. Citizen petitions must be in hand delivered to the town clerk or select board office at Town Hall. Please do not drop your submissions in the drop box outside of the building. Information is available to the town on the town website on how to make a citizen's petition or contact the town clerk or select board offices. Next topic, 2025 annual town election. The annual town election will be held at the Bernardston Town Hall on Monday, May 5th, 2025, from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. The select board voted to opt out of vote by mail for the town election. However, you may vote early in person or complete an absentee ballot application. Early in-person voting hours of operation and absentee ballot applications are available at the town website, on the town website, at the town clerk's homepage. The last day to submit absentee ballot applications is Monday, April 28th, 2025 by 5 p.m. Next topic, Board of Health meeting. The Board of Health will hold their monthly meeting on Thursday, April 3rd, that's tomorrow, at 3:30 p.m. at the Town Hall. Joint Finance Committee and Select Board, 3-town meeting. Is this what you're referring to?
No.
Nope, okay. The towns of Bernardston, Leiden, and Northfield, Select Boards and Finance Committees will meet on Thursday, April 3rd, that's tomorrow night, at 6 p.m. at the Bernardston Senior Center to review the legal response of the draft district agreement between the 3 towns and the Pioneer Valley Regional School District. Attorney Blake from KP Law will be available at the meeting for questions. Next topic, public ribbon cutting and celebration. This is what we were talking about earlier, for the Incandescent Brewing Company. Nate and Missy Perry, Missy?
Missy.
I screw that up every time. Missy Perry have transformed the former Hitchcock brewing space into a vibrant and welcoming gathering spot for featuring live music, great company, and an exceptional selection of handcrafted beers brewed on site. The official public ribbon cutting and celebration for the Incandescent Brewing Company will take place on Friday, 2 nights from today, April 4th at 4 p.m. at 203 South Street in Bernardston. Encourage everybody to come. I've personally selected and hand-selected and taste tested their beers. It's great. We had a good time. Council on Aging meeting. The Senior Center, the Council on Aging will hold their monthly meeting on Tuesday, April 8th, 2025 at 9:30 a.m. at the Bernardston Senior Center. Bernardston and Leiden Efficiency and Regionalization, so-called E&R, Advisory Subcommittee, regular committee meeting will be on Tuesday, April 8th, 2025 at 5:30 p.m. in the Bernardston Senior Center. Affordable housing workshop. This is what Representative Blais was talking about. An affordable housing workshop is scheduled for Monday, April 14th, 2025 at 3 p.m. at the Bernardston Senior Center. This workshop is designed to help seniors who need housing navigate the affordable housing application process. Pam Parmakian, who is director of the Senior Center, and Tina Cloutier will provide general information and be available to answer questions. Citizens' concerns. Jane.
The Finance Committee and the Select Board will be meeting Monday at 6 o'clock in this room
Next Monday.
to continue our work on the budget, and we are nearing the conclusion, so if there are any requests hanging around out there that people think they are still thinking about, they need to think fast and get it into us.
And I understand there are still a couple of departments who haven't
I
submitted
have
their
three.
budget. Go ahead.
I sent emails yesterday, another set of emails yesterday saying, just about what I said now. We're almost finished. Get them in, get the amount in, get why you're asking for it. I didn't say what you said to me, but I'll tell the world what you said to me.
Go ahead, tell them.
Ken said, if there's no request, then there's no budget.
Yeah, simple enough. Now that may be an overstatement, and we were tired.
Considering that we're right at
it's tight.
the
money
line
is
where we're
incredibly
going to
tight.
run, where, depending on what we're talking about, we go in and out of the red with each discussion. Oh, well, almost each discussion.
So if you have any input into what are the three departments you're missing? Is it fair?
Historical Commission,
Yeah.
Agricultural Commission,
Yeah.
Recreation Commission. Recreation Commission brought us a budget, but it was not complete.
It needs to be
They
corrected and
need to be
resubmitted.
resubmitted. The other two haven't heard anything from.
Okay. Any other citizens' concerns? Hearing none, we'll keep going. And we covered that. We covered that with Natalie. Rec assistant resignation. On March 17th, 2025, the Select Board was informed of Cindy Euro, how do you say it? Euro resignation as the recreation assistant. Cindy has served diligently as the recreation assistant for the Recreation Commission since 2007 after retiring from full-time Parks and Rec work at the City of Greenfield. We have prepared a letter of appreciation for Cindy, and it reads, "We are writing to express our sincere appreciation for your outstanding contributions to the town of Bernardston's recreation programs. Your dedication, attention to detail, and commitment to excellence did not go unnoticed. Your experience as a former rec director for the town of Greenfield played a pivotal role in the success of the town of Bernardston's youth sports programming. Your dedication to the Recreation Commission's mission has set a high standard for others to follow. Your support has been invaluable, and we couldn't have done it without you. We are proud to have been a part of your journey, and we wish you all the best in your future endeavors. Sincerely, the Bernardston Select Board." I would entertain a motion to accept the letter of resignation from Cindy Earl, effective. Nobody calls her Earl. It's Cindy. She's a very personable person. Effective May 1st, 2025.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
I'm gonna miss her.
If not, vote yes.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Great. Thank you, Cindy.
Yes.
Truly.
Really.
2025 financial audit. We have an engagement letter from Roselli, Clark and Associates. The town is considering an audit of the financial statements for the governmental activities, the business type activities, each major fund, and the aggregate remaining fund information and the disclosures which collectively comprise the basic financial statements of the town of Bernardston, Massachusetts as of and for the years ended June 30th, 2025. I would entertain a motion to accept the letter of engagement from Roselli and Clark and Associates as written and authorize the town administrator to sign the letter and schedule the audit for completion in the first quarter of fiscal year 2026.
So moved.
I don't think
Second.
it can happen in the first quarter.
Okay?
It takes almost the first quarter to get the
Finalize
books
the,
closed.
yeah, you're right.
So just,
In
I
FY
wouldn't leave a
26.
date.
Yeah,
I
all right.
wouldn't put a
All
date
right,
in there.
I would amend that then to strike the date.
So move the amendment.
Second, the amendment.
All right. Roselli and Clark did our last audit, and that was to bridge the financials from the previous,
But it just did the financials of the previous,
okay.
Account.
So
It
it
didn't do
was
the
fiscal
bridge.
year 23?
Yep.
yep.
Okay. So they're familiar with the town's workings. It's a reasonable number. In fact, it is the same number as
Same
what they
number, yeah.
provided. So they're expanding a
thank
bit
you.
their scope.
For that.
Right.
Yes, it was a very difficult process. The town administrator had to beg people to submit bids.
Now he
for
loves
that.
us.
Yeah, well, he's good.
Now I'll do it whenever we want.
I think we were
Perfect.
very satisfied with his work from the previous
Yeah.
effort, so. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, as amended. Thank you, Jane. Request for support from Franklin Regional Council of Governments, Climate Resilient Drinking Water Supplies for Franklin County. Linda Dunleavy, the FRCOG Executive Director, is asking member towns to indicate their support for the FRCOG's grant application for climate resilient drinking water supplies for Franklin County. If funded, the FRCOG staff will complete a planning analysis of the climate change vulnerability of public water supplies, community water supplies, private wells, and agricultural uses throughout Franklin County. The climate threats most pressing and relevant to this project are the increased frequency and severity of floods and droughts in our region. An email stating the town's interest in and support of the COG's application prepared by the town administrator is sufficient. Because no match is required for rural towns, the COG is not asking the towns to pledge money or staff time towards this project. The COG needs as many of the 26 member towns as possible to support this application. This work is important for Franklin County in the face of the increased pressures and climate threats to our drinking water supplies. I would entertain a motion in support of the town administrator preparing an email on behalf of the town of Bernardston in support of the FRCOG's grant application as stated.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
Very important.
All those in favor? Letter from the Sixth Town Regional Planning Board, so-called STRPB. On March 30th, 2025, the Select Board received a letter requesting permission to have a representative from the town give a brief update at annual town meeting so that voters will know what to expect and how they can access information in the coming months. The STRPB believe the uniqueness and importance of this endeavor warrants a formal setting to be brought to the attention of the voters, and the annual town meeting is an ideal forum to begin the outreach effort. I would entertain a motion to approve the STRPB request to give a brief update at the beginning of the annual town meeting on Saturday, May 17th, 2025 at 10 a.m.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? No. Jane, anything? No?
I would,
Jane serves on this committee, that's why.
no, well, not currently.
Oh,
I
thought you
serve
did.
on a subcommittee
Ah.
of that group.
Okay,
I would tell them how long they can have for the presentation,
What do you-
10, 15 minutes.
15 minutes max, because that's a busy day for us.
It's a busy day for us, and they,
Can talk forever.
well, and they have enough information that you might want to hear it forever. But maybe the approach could be, if we allow you 15 minutes, is that enough? And see how they come back with that.
All right, we can make that clear to them.
Yeah.
Maybe a handout or something if they want,
Yeah,
or
would
they can
be-
prepare all
They'll-
that, but,
They'll take care of
yeah, all right.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Zoning Board of Appeals letter. A non-conforming use is a use of land or a structure that existed legally before a zoning ordinance or amendment was enacted, but now violates the current zoning regulations. These uses are often grandfathered in, and that's in quotes, and allowed to continue. On July 27th, 2000, the Bernardston Zoning Board of Appeals, based on the information provided, issued a letter to a certain business allowing the business to be grandfathered. Said business no longer exists, and it may be possible to reverse, rescind, or revoke the zoning variance granted back in 2000. That's just informational. We don't
Yeah.
need to vote.
Well, you told me to put it on.
Good.
For discussion,
All
so
right.
that was your intro to whatever you wanted to discuss.
All right, we're having, as part of the improvement of the town, we passed at the last annual meeting a bylaw that restricts the amount of unregistered vehicles that you may have on a property in the town of Bernardston. And this impacts one of the former businesses in town that hasn't been in business, hasn't had a license to operate for a long time. And we just want to move forward with that and make it clear to that individual that because he no longer operates a licensed business, the grandfathering expired when his license expired a long time ago.
And there's dozens and dozens of vehicles there.
Yes.
That are unregistered.
And there is environmental issues. There's obviously the bylaw issue. We are concerned about making sure that he is working toward eliminating those unregistered vehicles. And it may come to a dispute with the landowner. I just wanted people to know.
So in addition,
Yep.
I did coordinate with the interim zoning board of appeals clerk, Chris,
Yeah.
to get on the agenda at the next zoning ZBA.
Yeah.
This topic will be on their agenda at their
Great.
next meeting, so we'll see who's going to go to that, right?
Okay.
Okay.
Good.
So that was can I ask?
Please.
That was a finding by the zoning board that this site could have an exemption?
That's correct. A long time ago.
Was it given to the business or
Yes.
to the site?
The business.
To the business.
Yeah, there's you see the letter. Is there a date on that letter?
Yes, 2000, July 27th, 2000.
So it goes back quite a ways.
The business was in existence when the ordinance, ZBA,
Right.
when the ordinance changed.
Yep.
So he was allowed to keep his business going, but now the business doesn't exist. The business was an auto repair shop, auto repair. Never was it a junkyard either. She never really had a certificate for it, so. But
So more to come on that.
Not very clear.
We had a
there's more
presentation
smart
from
files on it right here.
Officer Zukowski at a recent select board meeting where he updated us on the 5 or 6 properties in town that have been identified as potential not in compliance with the bylaw.
And this is one of them, yeah.
And this is one of those 6. Old business, final Northfield EMS, IMA, and exhibits. The intermunicipal agreement for the emergency medical services among the towns of Northfield, Gill, Irving, and Bernardston, and correspondent exhibits A and B are ready for execution. There is a wrinkle in this, in that today we received notification from the town of Northfield, who was officially notified by the owner of Valley Concrete that he will no longer be selling his property. The Northfield EMS was going to purchase, actually the town of Northfield was going to purchase that location and use it as the base of operations for the Northfield EMS. And because that has been, the purchase and sale agreement has been withdrawn, it's kind of up in the air. We will proceed further once we understand what the ramifications of that are to the Northfield EMS solution.
Could affect your budget, number 2.
Yeah.
Potentially.
Potentially. They may have to go back
Well,
to
I know
the,
Northfield's going to pursue finding other locations or
Right.
potential.
it could be more expensive, less
You know,
expensive.
it also affects our budget because now that property doesn't come off the tax rolls.
Right.
That's right, that's a positive.
So I read it and I said, oh gee, that's too bad. Oh, maybe it's not so bad.
We still, that's why I want to postpone further conversation about it until we can sort out what the the pluses and the minuses
And you
are.
have a meeting this coming week?
It's, yeah,
Yeah.
upcoming.
Upcoming.
We may be, in fact, scheduled sooner than that.
Okay.
Where you can, maybe you don't want me to ask this, you can tell me.
Ask away.
But you won't answer it. Were there other sites that you were looking at?
I was not involved in the site selection. I actually was on the subcommittee, but ultimately they assigned me to a different committee. So I don't know how many other sites potentially were involved.
But there probably were others.
We got so excited about this particular
Yeah.
site
Yeah,
that
well, we were excited about it once.
anything else fell by the wayside. And it's a legitimate reason for withdrawing the sale. Valley Concrete was having difficulty identifying another location for their business, and until they are able to do that, they withdrew the.
I wouldn't sell what I had now to think I'm gonna build someplace else now with the way everything is right now.
And we ran into that same issue with the new fire station.
We did.
It was,
We're about to.
that project was delayed a bit until he could finish where he was moving to, so. Grant management guidelines. The existing grant management guideline requires that department heads, chairs of boards, commissions, and committees must receive approval from the select board to proceed with preparing applications to individual grant funding opportunities. However, there may be certain situations where this requirement could hinder grant applications with a short application window. That's nicely worded.
Can I say one thing about
Please.
this? I wanted to be clear that the grant management, it's not a policy, it's a guideline.
Okay.
So I
That's
think
good.
by the department
It's a
head
good
sending an
guideline.
email saying, hey, this isn't working for me, that's fine, and we can go accordingly. I don't think we need to change or amend the guideline.
Just more information for the department heads affected.
Absolutely.
So
yeah.
where this came out of is that, as we discussed with Representative Blay, there's a real shortfall in grant application money being made available to the towns, in particular Western Massachusetts, in particular senior centers, fire departments, police departments, you name it. And so when grant money applications, when that process opens up, there is typically a much shorter turnaround time. So many towns are chasing smaller numbers, smaller dollars, and they've shortened the process dramatically, where you used to have a month or 2 months to make an application for a grant. It's now weeks, days. And if you're not nimble, if a guideline got in the way of that, it would be, we would miss an opportunity to potentially apply for a grant or even get the grant. And in these hard times, difficult to understand times, we need all that nimbleness and more. So, go ahead.
I do think one caution on that, though, is if there's matching funds
Yep.
Oh,
required.
right. And-
Then
yeah.
we
That's
need,
a whole different ballgame.
right,
Well, regardless,
Unless they have them.
I talked,
absolutely agree.
yeah, I talked to the department head,
Yep.
and clearly the email, moving forward, that's all they need to do is send an email, but still the select board still needs to be informed of what they're doing.
Yeah,
You don't have to come in front of them or all that, we'll work through all
I
that.
liked our guideline.
Right.
I supported
Remember,
that
it's a
guideline.
guide, it's not a policy, so there's
It was a good one.
flexibility.
We're asking
No,
for
it's a
information so that we know if there's
I know,
matching funds. We
it's what I-
definitely,
it
the
should
select
be
board
guide-
needs
it's a
to
guide.
approve that.
And
But
so we
it-
can
but
keep
it-
Sue Moby involved too, so when monies come in,
Right.
she
Yep.
knows what's this for.
Yep, if we're so lucky to get
Right.
money to come in.
Well,
It's
then
a
where
guideline.
there has to be a matching funds, then
They're different.
then we need to.
But we absolutely must. She
Yeah.
can't, the
Yeah.
department heads can't be obligating the town to matching funds on their
No.
own. We need to know.
Even if they think they're gonna match it from some revolving fund, they can't do that.
We need to know ahead of time if it's matching funds. And simply by informing the town administrator, that will take care of that obligation.
Right.
And then she can make a decision how to get the best, fastest vote possible.
Yeah, and I think you have to, well, you have to define short application window. What does that mean?
That
You
window,
were saying weeks, days.
it could be weeks.
What's
it could
short?
be- Short is,
Short is 5 weeks or less?
no,
10
that's-
weeks or
that's-
less? Like, I don't know what short is.
We
No,
have a meeting
I
of this
agree with
committee.
you. I
of
think
this-
it's very achievable to come in front of the select.
Yeah.
My personal opinion is that they have plenty of time,
I
short,
mean, if it's
long,
days,
in
I get
between to
that.
come in
If it's
front.
days. But
But if they can't, because they might find, any grant, they're gonna give you 10 plus days to apply.
Normal
Norm-
circumstances.
Right.
And then she's absolutely on board with coming in and
Yeah.
informing us,
It's not a
either
problem.
through your department, through
Right.
your office.
Well, that's
we
my
get-
point.
Yeah.
You have to define short. If we're going to give them some leeway, and I'm all for giving them some leeway outside the guideline, but you have to define what short application window is.
All right. Suggestion. How short is
I don't
short?
know. What's
A
the?
month. Well, we're working.
Anything shorter than a month?
Well, I was just asking Chris what we were working with on the Green Committee, because we're resubmitting the PI grant. They told us to resubmit it.
Yep.
Well, they didn't tell us to. They said strongly encouraged.
Okay.
And we took the encouragement. So we think max we had a month on that. I mean, there was the denial, and then that was followed by an email saying we encourage you to reapply. So we know when the denial was, but we don't know when that other email was. And it's due Friday.
And we have to.
So if we didn't have a meeting tonight, you wouldn't have had a select board approval. Now, we've already pre-approved it because we did the first
Right.
round of
Right. That's the only
applications that got
difference.
shut down. But, so
Yes,
it's,
technically it didn't need approval again from you.
right. So,
Right.
But I
It
see
can
what
be
you're saying.
tight.
In a scenario where it did, right?
So now we're spending time updating all the information in our narrative and in our tables, because we have to now base it on the last fiscal year, not the 2023 fiscal year.
Good luck
So
with
now we
that.
have to-
in a very short
Right.
window, Friday.
And when you're working.
Well,
in the-
when were you informed to apply for the grant? How many weeks ago was that?
Wait.
It was weeks ago, though.
It was less than a month ago.
About-
Right.
I think
about
it
a
was.
month.
Yeah.
About a month.
So-
So,
That's the point I'm making.
So
Yep,
a month
I
is a
hear
good
you.
number, right? Short,
Yeah.
a month or
But,
less.
okay, so we were told to reapply, but then we had to have a meeting to see if the
Right.
committee wanted to reapply.
Right.
It's not,
and we had to have AEG, who came up with a proposal, remove the information.
But that one's totally different because it was
So-
already pre-approved for the first one. They're asking for more information for what.
no,
we're
we're
actually
just
giving
trying to give
approval
you a
for.
timeline,
I think a month's
Yeah, just a
short.
an
timeline.
example of
Okay.
what,
Just an
you want to know
example.
what short is.
And we were
So,
saying a month.
A month or less is.
I think
short,
that's a fair-
presume, right?
Change to the guideline. And again, giving them some flexibility. Ask the town
Really,
administrator.
the big driver for this whole thing was because we weren't getting informed when other committees were applying for grants.
I think a simple email like she
Susan would
did,
get money
saying,
and
this
she
is
wouldn't know
what
what
I'm
it's
gonna, can I, just letting us know, this is what's going on.
Or the accountant.
That's it.
Right.
That, we don't
Done
need
and
to
done.
change anything.
Yeah.
That's
Good.
what I'm trying to say. We didn't-
Okay, I like that. It's
She
a-
came up online, said, this is what I need to do, because they know they have to come in front. And then, so the email with the explanation of why
It's good.
is good enough,
Yep.
right?
comfortable?
We don't need to, I don't think we need to change anything and determine what short is.
No.
It's just that it'll generate that, organically will generate that, because they know they're supposed to come in front of you. Does that make sense?
It does.
Yeah.
And we as a select board meet at least every 2 weeks.
Right.
And oftentimes, multiple times in between, reflected in the.
And we'll call,
minutes.
right,
Yeah.
we'll organize officially if need
If need be.
be, to make anything happen,
Sounds
right?
like we got that
Sounds
covered.
good.
Yeah,
Okay, other business unknown at time of posting. Bernardston Elementary School Landscape Learning Plan. Here we go. An email was received from the Pioneer Valley Regional School District Superintendent on Monday, March 31st, about a new resource for our towns. Through a contact with the district, John Lepore, citizen, town of Bernardston, restoration ecologist, has completed a landscape learning plan for both Bernardston Elementary School and Northfield Elementary School. These books, plural, provide a literal map of the beautiful town-owned properties that surround our elementary schools. The books are replete with historical, cultural, and ecological information that is fascinating and creatively presented. Publication of the books will provide the town with incredible resource that could help with fundraising to support landscape restoration, should that fit within the town's long-term plans. PVRSD, the district, will be using the books in school to help students make even better use of the New England landscapes that surround them. The district has purchased hard copies of the book to share with the district, the school district, has purchased hard copies of the books to share with town committees, boards, libraries, etc. There will be class sets in each school building as well. PVRSD would like to present the learning landscape plans at an upcoming meeting of the board or committee that you believe is most appropriate for this information. PVRSD has contracted with John to provide one presentation in each town. And the question to this group here is, which board, committee, commission does the select board believe is most appropriate for this information? Do we want to add this presentation to the annual meeting? No. And ask for the town to fund this project? No.
And I don't know what committee, what's the best
Yeah.
committee? I mean, I don't mind if they come and share it.
Come to which?
I don't know, is it the Conservation Commission, because it's really an
Yeah,
ecological thing?
Concom would make sense.
Well, it's a,
Ag committee?
well, it's
Joint
for a
committee of both of
landscaping
those?
project at the school, I would think, right?
Well,
Or,
I was interpreting that to mean they were presenting a plan to the town to be used other places than the school. Because John's going to be doing this with the two schools, right? Isn't that what you read?
Mhm.
I haven't
no, I
spoken
must
with
have
John, so I don't know.
misunderstood. I thought it was a project for, at the school, a landscaping, this is the booklet here, but, again, I didn't get a lot of time to dig into it, so.
What did it say? It says BES is purchasing, PVRSD is purchasing
Hard copies of the books.
sets for each school.
For each
Yep.
elementary school.
And John Lepore is leading,
He's contracted to make a presentation to the school and to whatever board we designate. Maybe we should take it under consideration and do a little more research and come back
Yeah,
with a
okay.
recommendation.
well, does it have to be one board?
No, it's one presentation.
presentation.
We could bring
presentation.
everybody to it, yeah.
But you mentioned conservation.
Concom and Agriculture Commission, if they had a joint meeting.
Agriculture, highway, because they take care of all the lawns and everything
There you
anyway.
go, okay.
And,
Snows mows everything over there.
well,
We plow, that's all we do.
we mow the lawns at Cushman Park.
But I think this is specific to the school ground.
I
It's
think you're
just to
right.
the school grounds. It's a landscape
It's
project.
not of the whole town.
Right.
Oh, I thought what they were giving to the town was to encourage us to do beyond what they're doing at the school.
I don't think so, but again, I think we should table
We'd
it
have to get
maybe
more clarity.
and we'll.
Well, I think they're, I understand what you're saying, Jane, because they do talk about the school, John Lepore, landscaping learning plans for both BES and NES. And then it continues talking about the beautiful town-owned properties that surround our schools. So what are we talking about? The schools or all of the above?
I don't know.
Well,
So-
the other department that I was going to mention is tree warden.
Mhm.
That was my list.
Well, let's take.
Any and all of those.
Yeah, I need to
Can you
do
send
more
me that
homework
again?
for it.
Something
You got
like
it.
that.
All right.
Okay, so we'll
I'll read
reach out
this
to John Lepore.
No, I
Who should we talk to get clarification of all of this?
I'll take care of it. If you
Okay.
don't mind.
That's fine. I delegate you.
He comes here for the planning board. I see him quite often. I
Yeah.
can just pull him in and
See
ask
what you
him.
would say.
Yeah.
Good.
Ask him how,
So
the
more
recommendation.
information to come before we
Yeah.
make a decision where we should do that. As far as adding it to the annual town meeting, zero chance of that. That meeting is
Gonna be
packed
long,
with too
yeah.
much as it is.
I understand. I
So
just
that's a no.
didn't know.
And we do not have funds in the town budget right now to support this effort. So if the PVRSD is willing to,
There, if the PTO wants to do something like that for a fundraiser,
they can, yeah,
And I was thinking maybe the new committee could be something you could fundraise for. I don't know. Yeah.
Mm.
All right.
yeah. Okay, town administrator report.
Well, Natalie kind of stole my thunder.
Okay,
Governor Healy signed off on extending, the open meeting law, which includes the hybrid remote meetings, like she said, through June 30th, 2027. And I just got another bit of information. We got a letter from Berkshire and Eastern Railroad. They're going to do their annual herbicide spraying
Okay.
in and around the town. So,
Close your windows.
well,
When is
actually,
it?
between May 1st through October, they do it they're on the rail truck, but
That'll be in the newspaper.
it will, yeah, it'll be in the newspaper, but just wanted to let you know
Pick a
that
nice
that's.
windy day and
Yeah, and it's a mixture of herbicides, nothing dangerous, but, it's good to let
No Agent
our
Orange?
residents know,
Take care of Jane's lawn for her.
yeah.
Well, they've been cutting trees. Did they send you any notice about
No,
that?
they do
They don't
not.
have to for that.
they, the railroad?
They, the railroad,
They don't have to notify
been,
cutting trees. Pesticides are different, it falls under a different law.
Yeah.
but it would be nice if they told you they were gonna come along and
The
cut all
railroads
those
have more
trees
power
down.
than God.
Yeah. They have their
Well, I
own
wanna
police.
know why they cut trees up to Shaw Road and then they stopped. And they did not come on my side of Shaw Road and continue their process.
Do you have a railroad on your
Mad
side?
at them.
She's right
Is
by
it-
a railroad.
No,
Shaw
on
Road?
your side of Shaw Road?
Next year.
The railroad crosses Shaw Road.
Yeah.
And I'm on one side of it. And they stopped cutting on the other side. And I didn't see any activity any place further
More to come.
east.
Trust me, they're
So I'm-
sharpening their blades of their chainsaws. They'll be back.
Well, I want to point out the trees.
What you do is you get a can of blue spray paint, and they'll say, we're supposed to cut that one.
No, they don't work that way.
That's how the tree
That's all
warden
I
works.
have. That's all I have.
That's how the tree warden works.
I know.
You paint something blue, it's gone.
Now, I know you said blue, but I think she should scout out other areas she knows work is being done and find out what color the railroad is using.
It's even better
And then paint that on the
recommendation.
tree that you want done.
I thought it was just what they could reach from their vehicle that was on the tracks until they got
You would think that would
close
be,
to Shaw Road, and then I found out, they can take that vehicle off the tracks to
There you
reach
go.
the tree they
that
want
they
to
really
get
want to
at.
cut down.
It's true.
The dog was very interested in their work.
Oh, I
That's
bet.
how I know so much about it.
At full volume, I'm sure. I got 2 of those. Anything else to come before this austere group? Anything
good.
from the audience? All right. I would entertain a motion to adjourn at 7:18.
So moved. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everyone.
Again, thank you.